For this one, I used this Yarn Art Flowers Moonlight. It's a super fine one. Colorway is 3288. It just goes into this gorgeous copper at the bottom. It's sparkly. The whole thing is sparkly. Okay, so this is 53% cotton, 43% pack, which I believe is acrylic, and 4% metallic polyester, which would be the sparkle. There are 200 grams, 9.15 ounces, 1,000 meters, 1,093.6 yards, and this is all I had left from the one ball that I used. For the hook sizes, I used 3.5 to start with, and then I went up to a 4 right around the girl area, and then I went up to a 4.5 just under the girls, and that was only to make the yarn go further, to make sure I had enough. So I had this much left. I thought of adding it to the sleeves, but I didn't. Not for this one anyway. This is the one you'll see me making in the tutorial. It's the same design. All right, and I did do a little bit of flowers around the sleeves on this one. Okay, so what I used was this Garden Batik by Premier. It's a lightweight 3, but it's a thin 3. So this sweater looks amazing, or this cardi looks amazing in this 1-weight yarn here. It would look amazing in a 2-weight and a thin 3-weight. Or even a regular 3-weight. Okay, so this is Garden Batik, 284 yards, 260 meters, 3.5 ounces, 100 grams. This is 100% micro acrylic. I don't know the meaning of micro acrylic, but this colorway is Water Lily. It's got these beautiful teals and purples. It's beautiful. And I guess that's everything. Water Lily is the color. So I used 2 and then part of a third one to make this. I'm about a medium large, but this is size adjustable. I'll show you where to try it on in the video. Okay, and you'll also need, oh, I'm sorry, I used a 5mm throughout the whole cardigan. You'll also need a pair of scissors, a darning needle, and you will need 4 stitch markers to mark your corners. Okay, this is one piece, worked from the top down. All right, I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Thank you so much. Hey everyone. Okay, we're going to start with a chain of 92. So just 92 chains. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go all the way up to 92. All right, when we have our 92 chains, we're going to skip the first one. That one kind of shrunk up when I fiddled around with my yarn, so that counts as 1. So we're going to skip that one. And we're going to go in the next one with a single crochet. And we're going to do a single crochet in every chain all the way to the end of the chain. And then row 2 will be the same thing, single crochet for row 2 as well as this row 1. But I will meet you at the end of this chain. So when you get to the end of the chain, you will have 91 single crochets. Okay, see you at the end of this row of single crochets. All right, I have my first row of single crochets done, and that sun is sneaking around here, so I'll have to continue on when it's not, affecting the view here. But actually, I'm going to do the second row, so you chain 1 and you turn your work, and then you put your single crochet in that first stitch, and put single crochet all the way across, 1 single crochet in each stitch. So this is your second row of single crochets. And then the next row is going to be our fancy stitch, I'm going to call it, where you will need your stitch markers. So make sure you have those available. You'll have to have 4. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end of this row. Now I have my 2 rows of single crochets done. So we're going to start on the next row, and the next row is going to be the row that sets up the rest of your cardie. So you're going to need your stitch markers for this row for sure. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do here at the end of that second single crochet row is chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then we're going to turn our work around. And then we're going to single crochet right back into that first stitch. So single crochet. And then we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. And then we're going to double crochet into that stitch. Okay, so what we have here is, this will be a 2-petaled flower. So you have 1 petal, 2 petals. Okay, then you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. You're going to skip 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in the 5th one with a V-stitch. So yarn over, go through that stitch, pull up a loop, just make a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet right back in that same stitch. Then you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in the next one with a 3-petaled flower. Okay, so we're going to do a single crochet. We're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go back into that same stitch with a single crochet. And we're going to repeat that. Chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go back in there with a single crochet. And chain 4 one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And go back in that same stitch with a single crochet. Okay, at the beginning we have a 2-petaled flower, chain 3, skip 4, a V-stitch, chain 3, skip 4, and then a 3-petaled flower. Okay, so chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, go in the next one with a V-stitch. So that was a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Chain 3. Okay, now we're going to mark that V-stitch we just made. Let me lay that out. Okay, this V-stitch we just made, we are going to mark with a stitch marker because that is going to be one of our corners. We are going to have 4 corners. Okay, so you're only going to be marking the corners. Okay, put that corner back in. Okay, so the corners a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, a V-stitch. All right, so do your chain 3, which I just pulled out. Okay, Now we're going to skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go into our next stitch with, see, we have this 3-petaled flower here. So just ignore your corner, and then we're going to put a V-stitch. All right, so we have this 2-petaled flower, we have a V-stitch, we have the flower, the 3-petal flower, but I'll just call it flower. Just ignore that for now. So the next one we know is going to be a V-stitch. All right, so I just put a V-stitch. I mean, this row is just gonna, like I said, set up the rest of the cardi, so you won't have to remember this. You actually write this down if you wish, of course. All right, so I put a V-stitch there. Okay, so then I've chained 3, and then skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in the next one with a flower. Okay, single crochet. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet back in there, and then repeat that. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet back in there, that same stitch. Again, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and single crochet back in the same stitch. And then chain 3. Okay, so we have 2-petaled flower, V-stitch, flower, V-stitch. That's our corner. We just ignore that right now. V-stitch, and then we have our flower. Okay, we've chained 3. So now we're going to skip 4 like before. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in the next stitch with a V-stitch. Now this is going to be another corner. And chain 3. Okay, so we're going to mark that because that is our next corner. Now the way this works is it's going to grow wider and longer at the same time as you work it, and then I'll show you at what point to try it on to make sure it's going to fit you, and then you would either make more rows if you don't think it's wide enough, or you would take a couple of rows out if you figure it's too wide. Yeah, but I'll show you all that. All right, so now we have the 2 corners. So now we're going to make this fancy design next here again. So we've chained our 3. We left off on a flower right before that corner we just made. So that means we're going to do a V-stitch in the next stitch. All right, so we've chained 3, so skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in that next stitch with a V-stitch. Okay, chain 3, skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in the next one with a flower. So the flower again is a single crochet, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single crochet back in that stitch. Chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single crochet back in the stitch. And one more time, chain 4. And single crochet back into that stitch. So we have 3 loops there. Those are the 3 petals of our flower. Chain 3. Okay, this is the part of the design that's going to be going across the middle of your back. So we're going to make some more of these fancy stitches compared to what we made over here. All right, so the next stitch is going to be a V-stitch after that flower stitch. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one, make a V-stitch. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Next one we're going to make is a flower. Skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to the next one with your flower. So your flower again is a single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, and single crochet in the same spot. Okay, and then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, go in the next one with a V-stitch. Chain 3. Okay, so this is the design, like I said, that goes across your back. We have a corner, and then this design will go across your back. So the next stitch is going to be another corner. Okay, so we're going to skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, go in the next stitch with your V-stitch. So it's double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 3. Okay, so we're going to mark that one because that's our next corner. Okay, so we're going to go to our next stitch. For the fancy stitch here, we left off on a V, so we know we're going to make a flower next. The actual name for it is Trefoil, but I'm calling them flowers. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 4 like before. Go in the next one with your flower. So single crochet, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet back in that stitch, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet back in that stitch, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet back into that stitch. And then chain 3. Okay, you have your 3-petaled flower in there. They bunch up a little bit. So I like to check back to make sure that I made 3 petals, because sometimes I've, made another one more by accident. All right, so we know the next stitch is going to be a V-stitch to make our little design. Okay. Did I chain 3? No, it should be chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to the next one with a V-stitch. Chain 3. Okay, so now what we're doing here is we're mirroring the other side. We're mirroring this section here between the, oh dear, I'm out of camera. This section here we're mirroring between those two corners there. So we just need 2 stitches to mirror that part. So we've done our 2 stitches. All right, so in the next one, we are going to put a corner, so that'll be a V-stitch. Skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, just like before. And make your V-stitch. And chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And mark that one because that's a corner. Okay, we're almost to the end of this row. So at the beginning of the row, we had these 3 stitches before our corner. So we've done our corner, so we need to make those 3 stitches to end our row. Okay, we've chained 3. We're going to skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in the next stitch with, okay, we have a V-stitch here, so we're going to put a flower in the next stitch. So single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, same stitch, chain 4, single crochet, oops, come here, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and single crochet back into that same stitch. So now we have our flower, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, go our next stitch with a V-stitch. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That end looks rough. So you should have 5 stitches left here. So skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in the very last stitch with a 2-petaled flower. Okay, so how we're going to do that in the last stitch is, okay, we've made our V-stitch and our chain 3. You'll have 5 stitches left, so skip the first 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in that last stitch with a single crochet, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, a single crochet back in that last stitch, chain 2, 1, 2, and then a double crochet right into that very last stitch again. Okay, there we have our 2-petaled flower. Now for the next row, we want to put a V-stitch. So we are going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, turn our work, and in that very first petal, we're going to put a double crochet. Okay, so we have a V-stitch that's starting our next row. Okay, chain 3, So now we have a V-stitch and we want to make a flower in there. So just go right over to that V-stitch, put single crochet, chain 4, single crochet back in there, chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, and single crochet back in, and then chain 3. All right, so we have our 3-petaled flower there. We're a V-stitch and a 3-petaled flower, and then chain 3. Now the next stitch we have is this 3-petaled flower. So in that middle petal, we're just going to put a simple V-stitch. Go right in there with a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And then chain 3. So this is how our pattern is building. We're going to be alternating. Okay, whenever you see a flower, you'll put a V. Whenever you see a V, you'll put a flower. Okay, so chain 3. Now this is the next stitch that's marked. So we know that's a corner. So what we do in the corners is we're going to make 2 V-stitches that are separated by a chain 2. Okay, so go right in that middle of that V-stitch and make a V-stitch. And then a chain 2 and another V-stitch right into that V-stitch from the previous row. Okay, and then chain 3. So this is what we have. This is how your sweater is going to grow wider and longer as you work it. A V-stitch, chain 2, and a V-stitch all in that V-stitch there. So now we want to mark that chain 2 space. Okay, then we're going to go on to the next stitch. We've already chained 3. The next stitch is a V-stitch, so we know we want to put a flower in that V-stitch. So a single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, let me do that again. I'm going to do that one. Single crochet again. Yarn splits a little bit. This is the Garden Batik. All right, so that was a single crochet, a chain 4, a single crochet, chain 4, a single crochet. So that means we have 2 flowers. So then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go right back in that V-stitch with a single crochet. So you have your 3 petals, chain 3. Okay, you have your 3 petals. Okay. So now our next stitch will be a flower. So we're going to go in that center petal with a V-stitch. Now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3 to get over to our next stitch, which has a stitch marker, so we know that's a corner. So that means we need to put 2 V-stitches in there separated by a chain 2. Okay, I'm already in that chain 2 space. Put a V-stitch, a chain 2, and a V-stitch. and then chain 3. Okay, make sure you mark that chain 2 space with your stitch marker so you recognize that corner when you come back around. Okay. So the next stitch is a V-stitch, so we know we're going to put a flower in there. All right, so single crochet, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet, chain 4, 2, 3, 4, single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, and single crochet, and then chain 3. Okay, there's our 3-petaled flower in our V-stitch. So the next stitch is a flower, so then we're going to put a V-stitch right in that center petal there. So just make a V-stitch. And then chain 3. So the next one is a V-stitch, so we put a flower in there. Next one's a flower, put a V-stitch in that center petal. Next one's a V-stitch, we'll put a flower. And then the next one is your corner again. So you would put a V-stitch, chain 2, and a V-stitch all in the center of that. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end of this row. All right, I'm at the end of the row. I put the flower in the V-stitch. I've chained 3. And now at the end of this row, we have a 2-petal flower. So what we do when we see a 2-petal flower at the end is we put a V-stitch in that very last petal. So just make a V-stitch in there. Okay, and then we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move that out of the way. All right, so we've chained 5, and now we're going to put a single crochet into this V-stitch. Okay, single crochet in the V-stitch. Then we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and single crochet back into the V-stitch. And then chain 3. All right, so now we have a 2-petal flower starting this next row. Okay, so the next stitch is the flower. Put a V-stitch into that center petal. Okay, then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then our next stitch is a V-stitch, so we're going to make a flower in the... Okay, we're going to put that flower in the next stitch, so that's in this V-stitch. Single crochet, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet in that V-stitch again, chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, and single crochet, and then chain 3. Okay, so that's our flower and our V-stitch. All right, so the next one is our corner. So the way I'm going to do it is like this. That first V-stitch, I'm going to put a ring. So that's a single crochet, chain 4, and a single crochet. Okay, so it's just one petal of the flower. In that chain 2 space, I'm going to make a V-stitch, chain 2, and a V-stitch. first V-stitch, chain 2, and then the second V-stitch. This is what's going to help your cardie to grow longer and wider at the same time. So I'll put the stitch marker in that chain 2 space. Okay, and the next V-stitch here, still in this corner, put a single crochet, chain 4, single crochet. Then we need to go over to this flower, so we're going to chain 3 to get there. And put your V-stitch in the center, or in the middle of the center petal. And then chain 3. Okay, so where I put those rings in these V-stitches over here in this corner, that's going to make your cardie more roomy. Okay, instead of putting the rings, you could go ahead and put the V-stitches instead of the rings, and that will make your cardie go down more straight. With the rings, it's gonna start kind of going out quicker and make your cardie more blousy. So that's your choice. Okay, but the one I did in the one weight, that was done with the rings. Okay, so now we have this V-stitch, so we're going to put a flower in the V-stitch. So that was single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, and then chain 3. That's to get to your next spot. Okay, there's your 3-petaled flower. So here we are at the corner again, so I'm going to put a ring in that first V-stitch. So that's single crochet, chain 4, and single crochet. Now we're up to that chain 2 space in the middle there. So we're going to put a V-stitch, chain 2, and a V-stitch. So that was our first V-stitch, and then the chain 2, and then another V-stitch. Okay, put our stitch marker back in that chain 2 space. And then we have that last V-stitch here, so we're going to put a ring in there. Okay, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet. And then chain 3 to get to the next spot, right over here, which is your flower. Put a V-stitch in your flower. And then chain 3. And the next one you have is a V-stitch, so put a flower in there, and so on. So this is actually row 3 of the, what I call a fancy stitch. We have the 2 rows of single crochet, and then we have 1, 2. We're on the 3rd row of the fancy stitch. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end of this row. We're at the end of the 3rd row of this fancy stitch. I put my V-stitch in the flower. I've chained 3, and now we see our row ends on this V-stitch. So what we're going to do here is put a single crochet into the V-stitch and chain 4. Single crochet, chain 4. Go back in with a single crochet, and then we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to make a double crochet. Okay, so that makes our flower at the end of the row, the 2-petaled flower. And then we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and turn our work. And then right back in that first space, we're going to put a double crochet, and that's going to make our V-stitch for our new row. Okay, that's our V-stitch. Then we're going to chain 3, and we're just going to keep repeating what we've done. So the first stitch here we want to go into is that V-stitch. We are going to make a flower in our V-stitch. So single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, and then single crochet all in that V-stitch, and then chain 3. Okay, and the next stitch is a flower, so we will put a V-stitch in that center petal. And then we'll chain 3. Okay, now we're up to the corner. I see I didn't put my stitch marker in that chain 2 space. After a while, you don't really need to move it. Maybe. I didn't anyway. Okay, let's take a look. We have these 2 rings on either side here. We have the V-stitch, chain 2, and a V-stitch. So in those rings, you want to put a ring. Okay, so go in there with a single crochet, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a single crochet back in that same stitch. So now we have a ring on top of a ring. Okay, now the next stitch is a V-stitch. You'll put a ring into that V-stitch. It's just 1 petal of the flower. Okay, when you're up to your chain 2 space, you're always going to put a V-stitch, chain 2, and a V-stitch. Okay, so here's our first V-stitch. Oops. Now we're chain 2, and then our V-stitch. Okay, so our next stitch is a V-stitch. So you're going to put a ring in that V-stitch because that's still part of our corner that we're doing. And then we have this ring that we had put in our V-stitch here, so we'll just put a ring in the ring. And then we're going to chain 3 because we need to get over to our next stitch here, which is a V-stitch, and we'll put a flower in that V-stitch. Single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, and single crochet. Okay, and then chain 3, 1, 2, 3 to get over to the next stitch, which is a flower. Put a V-stitch in the center petal. Chain 3. All right, so I'll show you one more time with this corner here, and you're just going to repeat until you get to a certain point, which I'll show you in the video, is where you try it on to see if it's going to fit, and if it is, then we'll go to the next step. All right, so that anybody could make this for themselves, whatever size you are, pretty much. All right, so there we have a ring in that first stitch, so we're going to put a ring in there. It's a single crochet, chain 4, single crochet. Okay, and then we have that V-stitch, put a ring in there, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet. Then we're up to the top where we have that chain 2 space. So what do we put in there? We put a V-stitch, chain 2, and a V-stitch. Okay, so our V-stitch, chain 2, and our V-stitch. So I am going to move that stitch marker into that chain 2 space at the top of our corner. Okay, then we have this V-stitch next. Put a ring in there. The next one we have a ring, put a ring. And then chain 3. So this is how our corner is building up. Okay, our next stitch is a V-stitch, so we're going to put a flower. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put a single crochet, chain 4, then a single crochet, same as before. Chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet. So we have our 3 petals, chain 3 to go to the next stitch. Next stitch is a flower, put a V-stitch in the center petal. All right, so that's what it is. Repeat, repeat, repeat. And let's see. Just going to show you, see if anything's happening right now. Because sometimes it takes a few more rows for garment to start. Oh yeah, here it's starting to go around. I'll have to pull my camera back. But hang on a second. All right, so that's how your cardi is going to start shaping up. Let's get that set right. I cracked my arm here that holds my camera. So. Okay, so that's how it's going to work out. This is your shoulders, that's the back of you, and then this is the front where it opens. So it's going to grow wider and it's going to grow longer, and then what you're going to do when it gets big enough is fold it over like that, try it on, And then I'll show you that in the video. But yeah, this is how it's working up. This is your neckline. All right, without counting these single crochet rows, those two, I made 12 rows. Counting those, I made 14. But you need to finish on the wrong side of your work before you try it on. Okay, because when we come up the right side again, we're gonna do a little extra thing on the shoulders. But this is how your piece will look. I have it folded over, but let's unfold it. Okay, so it's gonna be like this, like kind of a triangle. I'm gonna pull up my camera here. I broke my stand here, so I have to be careful. Okay, so it's gonna look like that. Okay, so I'm gonna try it on now, and I'm gonna show you guys what the next step will be. Okay, so here's our piece. I have the front side facing me, and I'm just gonna put it on my shoulders. Like so. And then to see if it's going to fit you, if you need to make a couple more rows, or take rows out, or whatever you'd like. If you want it loose or you want it tighter fitting. I'm trying to grab this corner here. And okay, just hold it against the front corner, back corner and front corner, under your arm. Remember, we're going to make one more row before we start the rest of the body part. So I hold it out like that. So that's going to be a good size for me. Okay, let's do the next step. I have the wrong side of my work up, and I've ended on a V-stitch, and I think everybody should be ending on a V-stitch, no matter how many rows you've made. I think so. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to single crochet into the V-stitch. Okay, single crochet into the V-stitch. Then we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Going to go back in that V-stitch with a single crochet. Going to chain 2 and then go back in with a double crochet. So we now have our 2-petaled flower there. Okay, now we chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and turn our work around, and now we're going to be on the right side of our work. Okay, we're just going to continue like normal, like we've been doing all along until we get to the shoulder part. So I'll get you started here. Okay, I've chained 4, and then I'm going to double crochet back into that space. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we have a flower, so we're going to make a V-stitch in that center petal. So it's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, then we'll chain 3. Next stitch is the V-stitch. So we'll make our flower in the V-stitch. So again, that single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, and single crochet, and then chain 3. Okay, there's our flower. And the next stitch is our rings. So we're going to put rings in the rings. So that's a single crochet and then 4 chains and then a single crochet, and then just go right into the next ring with a ring. And go in all the rings with a ring. And then remember, when you get up to that V-stitch, before the chain 2, put a ring in there, and then put your V-stitch, chain 2, V-stitch in the center. Over here, put a ring and a ring, ring, ring. And then I will meet you at the shoulder part. Okay, your shoulder part is right here. Okay, so we're not gonna have to go too far. That's the corner, and then we just go to the shoulder part, so I'll meet you there. All right, I'm at the shoulder part now. That's where we have those 2 rows there of that fancy stitch. Okay, the one I have here first is a flower, so all I'm gonna do is put a flower in here, and then a flower like normal in the V-stitch. That's the only difference, just so that we have a flower on the end of each of those fancy rows sitting on our shoulder, or hanging down our shoulder a little bit. Okay, so I did my last ring. I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go in that center petal with a flower. So you just go in there with a single crochet, chain 4, just like a regular flower. Go in there with another single crochet, that's 1 petal, chain 4. Go in there again with a single crochet, chain 4. And then go in there with your single crochet. I'm going to move these over a bit, get them out of my way. Okay, so there we go. So we're going to have that flower on our shoulder. We're going down over our shoulders a tiny bit, maybe. It depends. It depends. Okay. So then we need to chain 3. It depends how many rows you've made to have the sweater fit you. Okay, so now we have the V-stitch, so we're going to make a flower like normal. Okay, so that's just how our shoulder is going to look now. So we'll just have the 2 flowers on the end instead of, a flower or a V-stitch and then a flower. So sorry, my hands are in the way. I'm just trying to straighten them out. Yeah, okay, then you chain 3. And then now we have our rings again, so we'll put rings in there. Now, of course, you'll have the other shoulder to do the same thing too. Okay, so I'm going to see you at the next step. Alright, I've almost finished that row on the right side of our work, and I put those 2 little flowers on the shoulder part. Both shoulders are done now. So now I'm going to the end of this row to finish it off. So we have a V-stitch there, single crochet into the V-stitch, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet back in, chain 2, and double crochet. Okay, so that row is finished. So I'm going to show you the next step. Now we're going to lay our piece down in front of us like this. Okay, this is the opening in the front. Over here is our shoulder where our two little flowers are. Okay, these are our corners. There's our other corners right here. Okay, so now we are gonna, it doesn't matter, like I have this sitting on the right side facing out, but it doesn't really matter at this point because we're gonna be turning this on the wrong side to continue with our crocheting. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you what I'm gonna do with the corners. You know, I have a few tutorials where I've worked up, you know, tops, other cardigans this way with different stitches. All right, so you're going to take your one corner, that's your chain 2 space, and take your other corner, your chain 2 spaces in the middle, and we're just going to put our stitch markers to hold those together. Okay, and then go to the other corner and do the same thing. And at this point too, once you get them pinned together, you can try it on again if you want, just to make sure. But if you're pretty confident it's going to fit you, I'm confident it's going to fit me. I know sometimes, you know, things don't work out the way we hope. But yeah. So anyway, we have those pinned. So I will show you the next step. Okay, I tried it on again. Yes, I did. And it's going to fit me. Okay, now we're going to continue. Let's see, what did we do here? We did the flower. Okay. So that was the end of the row. We did the flower. So where am I at? Okay, so now we're going to chain 4 and we're going to turn. Okay, oops, oh, that's too big of a loop. All right. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and turn. And in that space, we're going to make a double crochet and chain 3, just like before. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so our next stitch is that V stitch. I just want to show you a little bit here. Okay, we're going to make the flower. I'm going to show you. I changed stitches, but we're going to make a flower in that V stitch just like before. Excuse me. Okay, chain 3. And then we have the flower next. Put a V stitch in that center petal. Okay, chain 3. Okay, this is the opening of our sweater. All right, so now the next stitches are these rings. Now what I did with the 1 weight yarn sweater was I switched to V stitches instead of continuing with the rings. Now the reason I did that is because these rings kind of act like increases. So you can keep doing the rings if you want. And so the bottom of your sweater, which is what we're going to be working on now, we're going to just be working on the length of it. It will spread out as if it's being increased. You know, say it's like here, it's going to go out like that. If you like a bigger flare on the bottom, awesome. With the 1-weight yarn, I did have a bit of a flare on the bottom, even though I changed, like I started using V-stitches in these rings because I had gone up hook sizes because I was making the yarn go further. Yeah, but yeah, so if you don't want your sweater to flare out too much, just start putting V-stitches in all your rings. Or if you want it to flare, continue putting rings in your rings. Okay, so I'm going to do V-stitches. Okay, so just put a V-stitch, if that's what you're doing, in each ring. Oops. Okay, all the way to where you're connected here, and I'll show you what to do there. Okay, I'm coming to that corner that we had pinned together. So, okay, I made a V-stitch in there. Next stitch is a V-stitch. Put a V-stitch in there, or a ring. And then we're going to connect, these are chain 2 spaces connected together. We're going to connect those together. We crochet right across them. Make sure that your sleeve is straight. This is your armhole. We're going to sew this in a little bit. If it's too big for you, it's too big for me. So, okay. So, okay, to do a V-stitch across the 2, just wrap your yarn, go in the 1, the chain 2 space, pull up your yarn, just make a double crochet, and then do your chain 1, and then make your other double crochet right into that chain 2 space. And so now you've connected them together. If you're doing the ring, you just put a single crochet in there, chain 4, and then put your other single crochet to finish it off in that next chain 2 space. Okay, and then just going to go ahead and keep making V-stitches until I get up to my next fancy stitch, and I'm just going to continue on, you know, doing the fancy stitch like normal. Okay, just like normal. So when you get to that V on the flower, you put a flower. When you get to the flower, you put a V. Just keep doing that. You're no longer dealing with the sleeves because they're done, unless you want to put an extra border or something on them. I won't be doing that. Okay, so continue on. Putting your V's in, or your rings. Okay, so keep going around the bottom, and this is going to grow your lengths. I'll come back and I'll show you what to do with that corner that we attached. It's here somewhere. Okay. Now I finished that row we were working on, where we had crocheted over the 2 corners. So now I'm back to it. So I'm just going to show you what to do. You just make a V-stitch right in here. That's all you do. Or if you're still making rings, just go right in there and do your stitch. then continue on making your V-stitches or your rings, whatever you chose. And then continue around. There it is. We are going to sew this up a little bit. I mentioned that. This is our shoulder. Okay, so we're going to just keep going and keep making your stitches. Keep alternating your flowers and your V's. Because like I said, we're done with the shoulder, so we've done our 2 flowers to end our shoulder. And yeah, so do as many rows as you want to make it the length that you want, and finish your last row on the wrong side, because we're going to come back and just do a little bit of a border. All right, so I'll see you when you're done your lengths. All right. Okay, I'm down at the bottom of my sweater. I've made 36 rows. It comes like maybe halfway down my butt, and I'm 5'5.5", so about a medium to a large. But of course, you make it as long as you want, as big as you want, everything. All right, so I'm on the wrong side, and that's where I want to be, because I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to make a little border, and then the border will be on the right side. All right, so we ended on a V-stitch. Okay, so we've ended on a V-stitch. I'm going to chain 5 and turn my work. Okay. Now I'm going to single crochet right back into that V-stitch. I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single crochet right back in, and then chain 3. So here we are with our 2 petaled flower. Next stitch is a flower. Normally we make a V in here, but we're going to make flowers. Okay, so go into that center petal, make a single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet. Okay, then chain 3. Okay, go to the next one. It's a V, but we're going to put flowers all the way across. So put a flower, single crochet, chain 4, just like before. Single crochet. Do that 2 more times. Okay, single crochet, chain 3. Oops. Okay. Now here we have all these V's, unless you did rings. If it's going to work the same way, just put flower in that next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single crochet. Okay, so that's gonna look like a cute border, right? And then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip past our next V, go into the next one with a flower. and chain 3. Then we're going to skip that next stitch and go in the next one with a flower. Did I tell you this is the same stitch I used for in the flower, in the garden shawl that I made? I'll link that below. Okay, so this is how your border is going to look. I think this probably will need some blocking, if you so choose. So skip the next V, put a flower, but make sure you chain 3 in between. And go on like that, and then when you get to your center part, center of the back here at the bottom, we're going to put a flower in the flower. Oops. Flower in the flower, flower in the V, flower in the flower, flower in the V, flower in the flower, etc. Make sure you chain 3 between each one. Flower, chain 3, skip that one. Flower, chain 3, skip that one. Yeah, and so on. And just work right till the end. Put a flower in that, and I'll meet you at the end here to show you how to end off. Okay, I'm at the end of the border row. I have all my cute little flowers. And then we have this V-stitch at the end. So to finish off, make sure you have that, you did that chain 3. Do a single crochet into that last stitch, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet back in that stitch, chain 2, and then double crochet in that stitch. Okay, so you are done your bottom border. Now we'll have to sew under the arms just a little bit because I tried it on and I put a pin there, so that's actually the pin ended up, let me show you, pin ended up one stitch down, so I ended up putting it 1 stitch higher. There's enough room there for my arm. And this is where we had put those 2 corners together. So I cut a piece of yarn about 4 times the length I need to sew this in. So I make sure I have enough. So I'm just gonna thread the needle. I'm gonna remove this stitch marker because there's a space under it. There's always that little space under it when I do these one piece tops, so I'm gonna start sewing it just a little further down. So I just grab a couple of the loops there from each side, tie a knot, oops, and I'll come back and sew that end in. But I counted the stitches on each side and they're the same amount, so it's going to be even. Okay, just grab a couple of the loops from each side and sew her up. Oh. Okay. All right, so I know I said I was done with the sleeves, but I think I'm going to put that little flowers around the sleeves too. So stay tuned for that after this. And I have several one-piece tops and cardigans and that. So I'll link them below. I don't think they're in a playlist by themselves, but I'm going to have to do that. And then I will link them below. Okay, I can take this out now. Ow, ow, ow. Okay, so just, yeah, I just make a knot in there. Turn my piece and then just weave the end in. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not even in the camera, sorry. Just weave it in. And I'm going to go back on itself here. And then I'll go the other end there and just weave that in. Okay, scissors. Okay, so let's go and do some little flowers around the sleeves. If you want, you don't have to. I kind of decided to do this like this morning. So turn your garment right side out again. I always look at this to see if it's right side out. That's our two single crochet rows. This is the back. Okay, so what I'm going to do is start at under the arm. Grab my yarn here. Make a slip knot. So I'll go right under. I'll go right under the arm. Okay, I'm just going to automatically just start making a flower. So chain 4. Go back in there with a single crochet. Chain 4. Single crochet. Chain 4. Oops. 2, 3, 4. Go back in with a single crochet. And there's our flower. 3 petals. Then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to go in this loop with a flower. Okay, chain 3, skip the next loop, go in the next one with a flower. And continue that. Okay, that was 2 petals. I need 1 more. And when you get, yes, just space them out. Let's see, I'm going to put 1 there, 1 there. Okay, and then I'm going to go into the flowers, going into that flower, and continue on around. Yeah, so if you made this cardigan or anything I make, please be sure to share it in my Facebook group, or if you don't have Facebook, just email me a picture. I'd love to see it, and let me know if I could share it on my community tab, um, with your name or without your name. And yeah, and please share my tutorials out. I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'll see you in a second. Okay, I'm at the end of the border for the sleeves. So I've chained the 3 at the end there, and I'm just going to slip stitch right near the bottom, or at the bottom of the first petal in that next flower. And is that going to look okay? Sure, that'll be right under the arm. Anyway, okay. So that's it. You just have a couple of ends to sew in or weave in, and we're done. We're done. Thank you so much, everyone. And yeah, subscribe if you like, or, click like, leave a comment if you want to. All right, thank you.